Hello, hello. Welcome to the feedback session. Okay, first of all, we had some good progress on this new piece. I do want to point the attention to the fact that we appear to have skipped some steps. You've already jumped into the painting and rendering, but we haven't put in the appropriate focus on the drawing. That's the main feedback. And you can see it here on your mural board. Before you did, where was it? I think it was this one, number 32, right? Yeah. 32, you had this crazy fisheye lens. Then you refined it. You took off the fisheye lens, but you refined it more. And then you refined it more. Then we went back and refined it more. And then we went into the painting. So you had 1, 2, 3, 4 steps of kind of like this refining, testing, refining, and discovery, and you haven't allowed yourself to do that on this new one. You've kind of skipped past some things. And I think that's hurt you a little bit in the fact that this guy's anatomy on the colored version is broken, and in your sketch, it's not. Like the sketch it's much better anatomy, and you seem to have lost a few things. One thing I've noticed that you do is you change your camera angle. So like with this original piece, you had this really cool like fisheye lens of this dude. It was kind of like a fisheye, like as if there was a camera on the ground and the guy was running towards. But then when you started translating it, you switched the lens to kind of like more of a person height. And then you switched it again on this update here. And this one really toned down. We switched out of this one because this one really changed the entire feeling of the piece. And then we went back and we kind of kept the person height, even though the original thumbnail was like this fisheye view. So that's something you tend to do, is you tend to like change the camera, which is fine. Part of this process of illustrating is refining and adjusting. So you might decide this isn't an effective angle for what you're trying to convey. It might have been the inspiration, but it's not an effective angle. In a professional setting, I would advise you against drastically changing the camera angle this much, because your art director will be expecting something like this, and then if you end up giving him something like this, he'll be like, oh, or they will, he or she will be like, oh, this is different from what you initially showed me, and they'll come back at you and say like, hey, you gotta make it more like the original because this was approved. So you gotta think of it that way. If you're trying to work in a professional setting, think of like the approval steps. If this is approved, you can't change it too much. You gotta kind of stick with the initial composition. Anyway, so you went through these steps and you got to this conclusion, and even in the conclusion we refined it some more. But here you've only done a couple steps. You did, I think it was, this is the one I think you went forward with. One, yeah, because not this one, not this, maybe it's this one? Yeah, it was this one. This one here appears to be the one you went forward with. And again, the anatomy looks really good. You got this low angle, which I like. I like the low angle. It makes this guy look impressive and big. But then when you translate it into the painting, we now have a higher angle. We're kind of looking at him from like human height. He doesn't look as impressive, to be honest. That's just because of the camera angle. When you show someone from a low camera angle, they tend to look more impressive or bigger. And that's a tool you can use to emphasize things. So let's kind of go back here and see what we can do. Let me switch this screen to my Photoshop. Okay, so here's Photoshop. Let me make sure this is plugged in. It's not plugged in. I use a Toolbox, and it's my hotkeys. Okay, excuse all the mic rubbing. It's my mic is hanging loose from my headphones, so you'll hear this like that white noise every now and then. That's just the mic. Okay, so let's take this image. Let's blow it up. Let's really blow up the image and like examine what's going on here. And then let's turn on. So on, you'll see, yeah, you got like a huge difference in like the angle. You've really changed the body quite a bit. So yeah, I think we need to go back. So you've gone too far. We got to back it up. This guy's got like a beard and looks like he's made of plants, and like his legs are made of trees. So I would suggest you like come in here. Oops, wrong one. There we go. Come in here and really replan this out. And where's my brush? Here we go. So he's got like I can just let's duplicate this real quick. He's got kind of a big nose, big bushy eyebrows and stuff. So I would come in here and plan out the face the way you want it. So he's got the big bushy eyebrows. And then he's got his eyes. Keep this grid on the face. It helps you keep the proportions in line with the angle of the face. Oh, wrong brush. There we go. Drawing on the wrong layer. Undo all that real quick. Okay, we'll do a new layer. Okay, so you draw in the features on the skeleton that you previously drew, and he's got like a big nose, like you gave him a big nose, so give him a big nose. Just keep to the structure you drew. I think that's the main thing. You tend to change the structure. I think because this tends to happen. I used to do this a lot. We sketch it out in a really cool angle, and it's easy to sketch, but then it gets time to like actually commit to the drawing, and part of you's like, oh, that's a really hard angle to draw actually. Like that angle is kind of tough. That's where you make whatchamacallit, compromises. You make compromises, and you because you're not able to inform the drawing the way you imagined it. Like you'll be like, oh, it's actually a really tough angle to draw this guy at this upward view. So I'm gonna slightly change the composition to make it easier, but in doing that you make the image kind of more boring. I'm not trying to like insult you or anything. I'm just saying it happens to everyone. It's not just you. I used to do this too. He's got this kind of like wood that comes up the side of his head. I would try and, for that piece of wood that comes up the side of his head, I would try and mimic maybe the ear shape, like an elf ear. And maybe do some cool twig things come off him. And then make the neck different, so we can delineate the neck. And then if we want these branches to kind of come up, this is the rough sketch. So you would still need to refine the sketch. Something like that. And then he's got some kind of leaves. I can't tell what those are. There's leaves inside of his head. Something like that. And then he's just green. So something like that. So that's kind of the look. And then he's got a bunch of, I also noticed you're kind of hiding the anatomy with all these leaves. Instead of emphasizing the anatomy, you're kind of like hiding it all. Like you drew out this really great torso, and then on the colored one you kind of like put these leaves all over the place. You can't detect where things are anymore. So you gotta, like, if you're gonna draw the leaves, kind of make it match the muscles, kind of like that. Flow it here, like maybe like a delineation of leaves where the shoulder is, but you're kind of keeping the muscle groups highlighted, so you kind of see how it's like the pectoral and then it's the deltoid. Maybe there's like a flower here or something. That could be fun. And then what's the other shoulder? It's like, I don't know, the other shoulder. It's like a giant flower. So that's like, maybe make it look more like a costumed thing, where the petals are out like that. Something like that. I'm not going to draw the whole thing for you. I just want to show you kind of what I'm talking about. Maybe this pectoral muscle is like a petal too. So it's like a petal. Something like this. You'll start seeing the shapes that we're getting here. And I'm just really sticking to the structure of your drawing. This is your drawing. So like, if you're thinking this looks really good, it's because you had a good drawing to start with that I'm drawing over. So it's kind of on you. I'm just following what you did. Okay. Now there's some things you can maybe work on, like I think this knee, the lower leg is a little big. We could shrink it a bit. But that's like minor. You could probably extend this leg out a bit too. Oops. You could probably extend the leg out a little bit like that. So you kind of get the idea. Anyway, I think that's what you need. You need to redraw from your thumbnail, stick closely to the anatomy, keep the camera angle, and I think it's going to be more powerful drawing. Much more powerful. Cool. That's everything. Don't rush through it. Stick in the drawing phase more, because the drawing phase will save my dog. The drawing phase will save the painting phase. It'll make it much easier for you. All right, that's it. Thanks.